walk out to the show and fall at your door. We got that info for you. Touchdown on that plane and Bryant is saying, more than just a podcast for you.
Welcome to another edition of the 10-4 YouTube show. I am, as always, your hostess with the mostest, Jamesetta Cleveland, and joining me today, one of our favorites, Frankie Robb, and also Coach Jordan is back, as well as you know how we do. We make history here. One of the only female coaches in the country, Coach Terri Bryant. Welcome, guys. Welcome. So we're going to dive right in because we got all the good questions this week. So I heard a coach on the social space on Twitter ranting about college and recruiting and how he thought that high school players would have a free year. And so I just want to point out, there's no doubt that COVID-19 has definitely impacted the college recruiting process. So I'm going to ask all of us here, what are some things that high school recruits need to know in order to be successful this year and in the upcoming years to come?
I'll go first. Well, in my opinion, like if my son was in high school right now, the first thing I'm gonna do is look at who's leaving. Like, what's the depth chart looking like? Who is a senior that has to come out, or they're gonna elect to stay? Because you don't want to go to a school as a freshman and be 3 years behind. 3 years of development behind. You know what I'm saying? So you want to know, put yourself in the best situation to learn. You know what I'm saying? Learn the game. So you go into a school that has 8 DB. My son played corner, so you got 8 DBs, and all of them stand. That means you like 9th to 10th on the depth chart. So it's like your time in the game gonna be 2 years, 3 years down the line once they leave.
Oh, that's a good point.
I agree with what he's saying, because it's so many guys that was expected to be leaving or transferring. And what happens when a guy gets hurt this year, and now he may be there for 2 more years now. So I would definitely look at the depth chart and then think about coaching situations too, because a lot more coaches are being fired than we probably expected. Everybody thought it was a free year. Oh, coaches is not gonna matter. These coaches is getting gone. So I would think about the depth chart, and then I would think about the coaches as well.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of them. That's what I would look at. I would look at who's staying. I know here at Kentucky, my son plays DB, and if he was coming out this year, one of their DBs decided to stay, and that's one of the things that we would have looked at, is the fact that, okay, we might need to relook at this because of the fact that he may have to be sitting out for a while. Great insight. That was my take too.
So this is one of the things that these are some things that I share with my parents, something that athletes need to be aware of. There may continue to be changes with the dead period. Like, for example, right now, the dead period has been extended till April 15th for all D1 sports. So if you're one of those people and you waiting for that D1 offer, you need to understand how the dead period is impacting coaches and their ability to get out, because they can't. Whereas D2 and D3, they have different rules as far as travel is concerned. And so what I have heard is I've heard moms be like, well, my son has D2, D3 offers, but not D1. Well, did you know about the dead period? So you need to be mindful and stay up to date on changes to the dead period, because I believe that it's going to change again. You also need to be aware of the changes as far as the SAT and the ACT being optional, at least for next year. You need to be aware that core classes for certain levels are going to be pass or fail. That will put some people in the position, if you change the core classes to pass or fail instead of GPA, and then you say, okay, you don't have to have the ACT and the AC or the SAT. That means that some people that might have been on the bubble, they're not necessarily on the bubble anymore because they passed the class. GPA might have been low, but they passed it, and they don't have to actually have an ACT or SAT. So just be mindful of the core GPA and the impact to core classes as far as pass or fail.
Mhm.
You also need to be visible. Be on social media. Set aside at least 30 minutes to an hour a day where you as a parent, you as an athlete, you are out in the Twitter and Instagram streets every day. I see college coaches saying, we cannot travel. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for that. Drop your measurables, drop your GPA, drop your huddle. You need to be on those opportunities because that's how they're getting out to the public. They're actually doing everything virtual. Are you easy to find? Are you on Instagram or Twitter as little baby Ray Ray, or are you you on there as Michael Smith, Watertown High School, class of
True.
2023? I mean, like they can't offer you if they can't find you.
And what's
then
on your Twitter?
That too. Yeah, that part.
Is your huddle? Is your
Yeah.
huddle on there? Full game film, people, full game film as well as highlights. And what does your social media look like? The coach doesn't know that you tweeting lyrics from, what is it? My son listens to some dude, Young Boy Never Broke Again. It's something,
Yeah.
somebody. Okay, but the
Yeah.
coach know that those are lyrics. I mean, he really don't know that those are lyrics. So you need to go and take this opportunity
True.
to clean your social media profile. And parents, recruiting is a package deal right now. Some of
It
y'all
is.
kids are not gonna get offers because you don't know how to act. So everybody needs to actually go out and scrub their social media. And also there are questionnaires. You should have a list of schools that you like at every level, D1, D2, D3, NIA, and beyond. You should have at least 5 schools in each bucket. And you want to go look for their questionnaires, fill out their questionnaires, send some coaches some emails. You can reach out to them even if they can't come visit you. So those are things, practical things that I have been sharing with the high school moms that I deal with, because some people are I've talked to moms and they're not on social media at all, and they haven't actually made sure that their children are on social media either. And so I'm like, well, how are they supposed to find you if you're not reaching out and actually going to them because they can't come to you?
Yeah,
How are they supposed to find you?
well, hopefully that the high school coaches have built that relationship with schools. That way they can contact them for the parents and the children as well. I think that it's a family deal. Like I always say, it take a village to raise a child. Well, that goes in also with coaching. I can say with my son's coaching at Sandalwood and at Trinity, that they all involved in getting kids to school. They really, if you really got to play the part and you really got the grades, they're gonna do what they can to be, that directional for you to look at a school, you know what I'm saying? Or the schools will find you. But if you by yourself out there, you're totally right, James, that you have to, find a way to market yourself. You have to.
And high school coaches, just correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to be honest, not all high school coaches have connections. They
I
really
named
don't.
2 schools out of every school in Jacksonville.
You know what? We're not going to talk about the fact that you went to Trinity. We not. We know.
We won't even claim Trinity like that. They
Like
just got good coaches there that's gonna get kids out there.
and
Like,
so
honestly,
Sandalwood is the same. I'm with you, but I have experienced since our coach that we had at our high school had relationships.
Mhm.
And it was a blessing that he could pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I got an athlete. I watched him. We had a kid whose offer got pulled, and we in our high school coach knew somebody at a school that this kid should go to. And I watched him, use his relationships to get a new scholarship. He was super instrumental into our process. But when I started talking to other moms whose kids were going through the recruiting process or who even had hopes, what I found out is that not all high school coaches are created equal. Some of them never played in college. They don't go to coaching clinics. They don't build relationships. And so they don't have the ability to pick up the phone and call, or to shoot a text, or to send an email, or send somebody a direct message. Like Jordan and Terri, y'all coaches, y'all in the coaching world. Am I lying? Because that's what I found. I could be wrong though.
You're absolutely right. Just some people just don't bother. They care about their team and their success, and they don't step out of the framework of actually going and building relationships. But that's big. Kids want to get to college. A lot of kids want to play college athletics, so you have to make a conscious effort as a coach to go make connections, because you never know. I mean, it's this coaching carousel. You never know. A coach could be an NAIA coach one year, could be a Division I coach the next year. So, I mean, it's important to make those kind of connections. I mean, it makes sense to me, and also to learn. You can learn from college coaches as well. So while you're making connections, you can also be learning.
That was one of the issues that we have here at the school that my son goes to. Last year, we had maybe 45 major schools that came to visit our campus, including Dabo Sweeney, who we have a player that's actually starting for Clemson this year that played on our team last year. And so, I mean, we've had Alabama, we've had all the major schools here, but all the other surrounding schools, you don't hear about them having those visits at their schools. And so the problem that we're having in our city is none of the city teams want to play our team because we're so much better than the other teams, because people are moving to be in our school because they see that we're getting kids off to college at our school. And it's not happening at any of the other schools because those other coaches are not, either they don't have the relationship or they don't care about whether or not those kids are going to school. I know there was one coach that was at a school, he got fired after like 30 years of coaching. And I asked, I said, how many kids did he actually help to put in school? And it wasn't that many, because all he cared about was his winning, losing, and he didn't care about whether or not the kids was going to school or not. But it took them 30 years to get him out of the system to be able to put kids in, to get somebody else that actually cared about making sure those kids went to the next level. That is so important.
See, Frankie Rob, you got the blessing of Sandalwood with coaches who care.
Well, honestly, I did my research before I took my son to Sandalwood. You know what I'm saying? Like, I looked and see, hey, we was at Trinity first, right? And Trinity really, get me wrong, my son had an offer to NC State his freshman year, right? So he committed there that same year, but he didn't think he's gonna get anything else. We went to Sandalwood, and he saw my son one time. He made a call, and everybody just started offering him. You know what I'm saying? He called Alabama, he called Georgia, he called Florida, he called everybody. They came offering him. So I think that, as a parent, when you if you think your son got talent, and you want to put him somewhere to where that he can either feed off of people that's going somewhere. Like, I know at Trinity, think about it. My son freshman year, they had Sean Wade, Tyreek Johnson, Derek Smith, who played for Illinois right now. All these boys had offers. So therefore, if you go to a situation where there's colleges coming to that school, then maybe you can get out. Because I know for sure NC State came looking at Sean, right? But they saw him. It was like, hey, you know what? We'll take him, because he's a freshman. He's not that far off. So, hey, let's go with him. And, I did that to Sandalwood. Sandalwood had Antonio Cleary. He went to Virginia. They had another dude, Chris Jones, who played in the league right now. They had like a buku people that was going. They had more people going to college more than Trinity in Sandalwood. So I took him there.
You made me think of some other questions. I'm going to move us along, but I want you to think about this, because I'm thinking we should do probably at the end of the year, the beginning of next year, a show just about recruiting. And when you said you did your research, what were you looking for? We won't have to talk about it now, but that's a question that I'm going to do on a future show, because parents need to understand, what does it mean to do your research? How can you tell if there's a way that from the outside looking in, before you put your kid in a school, that you can tell that their coaches have connections, that they send people to college. That's valuable information that our parents need to know. So I wrote that down. How do we do the research? So I'm going to move us to question number 2. So in the last 2 weeks, we've seen the ACC make a change to benefit Clemson. We've seen the Big Ten change its rules to benefit Ohio State. I'm just going to ask, what message does this send do these rules changes send to the rest of the teams in those leagues, and even throughout the NCAA? What are your thoughts?
I think it's the message that we've always seen: money rules everything. If you're good enough, we're gonna back you. As a conference, we're gonna support you. So, if you're salty about it, be better. Period. Teams want to. The NCAA wants the big dogs in the fight, and that's just is what it is. Because at the end of the day, that's who's going to generate the most money. So I don't think it's surprising, and I think that as the Big Ten, they should. Why would you not want your best team to be out there making money for the conference? Which in turn, as those other schools, they're going to make money off of Ohio State as well. So I think that I don't think that Ohio State was the only team pushing for it. I mean, Illinois, all these other schools, they're probably pushing for it too, because they're going to get some of that money. Ohio State makes it to the playoff, they make it to the national championship game, they're going to see some of that revenue. I think they're banking on some of that revenue as well. So I don't think we've had a playoff without a Big Ten team. So I think that money's they count that money before they ever got it. So I think that they're going to want that a representative from their conference anyway.
We've had a couple. We've had one with two SEC teams, an AC team, and a Big 12. But to your point again, that's a different question that you're making me think. We gotta talk about what makes a big dog. Is it revenue generation, and is that revenue from the college football playoff? Is it shared? I know the pot $6 million per school, but is it shared revenue? Or is it sometimes the revenue is spread out, all the teams in the league get a piece, or is it earmarked to the schools that make the appearance? That's a good question. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Frankie Rob, but talk to me. What do you think?
I look at it like this. Those conferences that do that, they only got one good team. Period. Like, there's nowhere in the world you can tell me, Clemson is legitimately a good team with Trevor Lawrence, but that's only for a maximum 4-year time period. So they're relevant as long as he's there, right? So I feel like if they would actually schedule, like if they would have played some SEC teams, if the Big Ten would have played some SEC teams, and they could prove their right to be a good team, but y'all playing, come on, man. Like, for real, like you don't have any I know I'm gonna be beat up across the head about this, but you're not playing nothing. You're not beating nothing. Like, I got a high school team here in Jacksonville, Florida, that could probably knock off one of them Big Ten teams today. Real talk.
Hey,
Real talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here with that, man. So of course you're gonna push one team because you only got one team. You don't have a conference worthy of committing yourself to. You know what I'm saying? You only got one team. And that one team is strictly because of what the draft picks they had come out of there, not because of what happened with the business entrepreneurs that come out of there. None of that. Strictly because of the 5 stars they have come to that school, drive that school to be who it is. Who did you beat worthwhile? Last year, you saw an ACC team with Clemson. Whooped you. Whooped you. You got whooped. Reality, you got whooped. You had opportunity to win, but they threw the ball end zone, old boy dropped it. You had a chance to win, but look, you know what? It ain't that dude. It ain't that dude. So I promise you, I really do hope that they keep it the way it is. That way, in the first round of the playoffs, they got to see this. You're going to see what real football is, man. You're going to see some real dogs. You got what you got, but we going to see. We going to see. Hey, we going to see.
Because definitely Urban Meyer, Ryan Day is not Urban Meyer. I can definitely.
Not at all.
It's not Urban Meyer at all. I'm gonna jump in because I was like, really, they already get preference. You had to change the rules to benefit your star. I get the dollars, I really do. However, I was like, what does it say that you the top dog? You're the top dog, and they still got to make rules to benefit you. Like really?
How about win games and then prove you the top dog? How about earn it?
And I'm like, you're 5-0 in your conference, but who you see in the ACC? Who you see who do you really see? Like, it's Clemson, and don't get me wrong, I adore Miami. They're slowly coming back. North Carolina.
They got
on the Hurricanes. I said slowly coming back. They look decent this year. Stop it. And North Carolina's having a so far good year, but again, it's Clemson up here, and everybody it's one premier team. That's it. It's one premier team. As much as I love Michigan, and y'all know I went to school there, I love them. Still, we need a whole new defense. We need a new QB. We need a new We need some new.
Everything.
Everything. I knew everything.
You
Everything.
need a new coach.
I need a new
That
Yes.
too.
That's one right there. And he
That
need to take
too.
his staff with him. Like he needed, they
Yep.
all need to go. But so I tried, so I'm honest with my my assessments, but I was disappointed because I was like, Nebraska, especially with the Big Ten, because Nebraska brought this up at the beginning of the year. They said, hey, we need to be able to play out of conference because we may actually have, we might not have enough games. And when it was Nebraska, people were like, no, it's a bad idea. But when you needed it, you wouldn't have had to change the rule if you just listened to Nebraska up front. But again, Nebraska is not the golden child of the Big Ten either. So I was just like, you get what you get. In my world, you get what you get. So you should, if you feel like someone needed to change the rules to benefit you and you were already the top dog per se, you really need to evaluate. Are you really a top dog or not?
Yeah. For the most part, like I go ahead. I'm sorry, coach. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, baby.
Now, so what I do was like, I'm on the podcast a lot. Me and Randy got one, but we meet people, and I can tell you that, a dude from Oklahoma told me they hit Ohio State up for a game. Texas A&M, somebody I know there, because the dude recruited my son, asked him for a game.
Whoa. On a DL, when Ohio State fan base right now on social media trashing TAMU, talking about they don't want to play. Oh, you heard it here, folks. You heard it here.
They did not want to play them boys. Because that'd have been a game. That'd have been a game that they got money off of. But in the same sense, you lose. Right? So how they looked against, the other team, I forgot the team name who almost beat them. But one from a pick from a Duval County boy, then that'd have been an L, So I don't know, man. I really don't like how they have their favorites. I never like favorites. I'm an underdog dude, maybe because I'm black, but I love the underdogs. You know what I'm saying? I want the underdog to win. Like LSU yesterday. I was happy that they won. I like the underdogs. I always do. I want you to come up. Prove yourself. I had to prove myself. You know what I'm saying? Coach, you had to prove yourself, Coach Smith, and Coach Bryant, you had to prove yourself. Why not everybody else? Yeah.
Money.
That's what it comes down to. It just comes down straight to the money. You got to think Ohio State has put probably more people in the NFL. I'll be honest, they're one of the top in the NFL. A lot of that just comes back to just money. So you got to have your top dog. And I'll be honest, I'm a little biased because Justin Fields is like family to me because me and his mom went to school together. So I'm a Justin Fields fan. I'm mad that he doesn't have the opportunity to go, to get the Heisman or at least be a runner-up for the Heisman. But if it benefits me, I'm all for it. To me, it benefits me, but is it right? Heck no, it ain't right. Heck no, it ain't right. Because me, I'm SEC. The thing, so I'm at Kentucky, so we're always the underdog. But we're always having to go up against the top. We always have to go against Florida. We always have to go against Georgia. We always have to go against those teams to prove ourselves, like Coach said. And again, why if you're in the ACC or if you're in the Big Ten, how come you don't have more SEC teams on your schedule every year? Because they're the teams that are there to beat. Because the SEC has to beat themselves up every year. You're playing against the top teams because all the SEC teams are always in the top 20, top 25. I mean, there's always at least 5-6 SEC teams in the top 25 every year. And so why would you not have them on your schedule? So if they're not on your schedule, you're not playing the best team to say that you're the top dog.
Yeah,
the SEC can legitimately say that, even if you're somebody like a Kentucky who's always at the bottom, because it's hard to compete with with everybody. But they've been competing recently.
Yeah, they definitely.
And
definitely cannibalized.
Yeah, they've been competing. They've been competing recently because they finally got a new, a coach and the personnel to do it. We can get past our injuries like everybody else. They might be able to see something else, but flat up, it's all about the money. Ohio State brings in too much money to their conference And so and look at how much money they've lost just by only playing 5 games. That's a lot of money that
It
they've
is.
lost by only being able to play five games for the season. Because my husband made a great point with that. We drive the campus on Kentucky, and he said, "Oh my God, it's like totally different from what they had like $2 billion in new infrastructure on the campus. The football team pays for that. The basketball team pays for that. So if they're not playing, you don't get all of that. They're not, that's where majority of your revenue from all schools is coming up from. So even at the beginning, when this pandemic came up, if they did not have football, period, and they totally canceled football, there's only 2 programs in the whole nation that would have been able to survive, and that would have been Texas and Georgia, because they had money coming from outside sources outside of football to fund their program. Flat out about the money.